Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. So, today I've got Ivana, and Ivana and I started working together quite a few months ago now, and we've both been on a bit of a postpartum journey together, which has been amazing because I didn't know I'd be lucky enough to get that after having a Charlie. So, first of all, Ivana and I worked together for 12 weeks. And more recently, Ivana's been doing a 6 week summer body reset. But I always start with a saucy starter and an intro to my guests. So, Ivana, tell us a little bit more about you.
How saucy are we getting?
As saucy as you want. It'd be outrageous.
Who I am, I'm a mum. I've got three daughters, the youngest being 11 months and the eldest being 8 years old. And I live in the middle of the North Island, the King Country, on a sheep and beef farm with my husband. And yeah, I'm quite busy. Like I am mum, helping my husband run the farm with the admin side, as well as being involved on PFTAs, toy libraries, and I'm actually just started up again this year teaching 1 day a week at the local primary school that I went to and my oldest daughter goes to. And yeah, I'm just that. I'm mum. I'm giving mum of three vibes, okay?
You are living mum chaos,
Yeah,
basically.
mum
Yeah.
chaos. We moved heaven and earth for this interview, okay?
Oh. So everyone will be really grateful to have Ivana because I really want to get her on here, not only because she's absolutely lovely and bubbly and has embraced everything so incredibly well, but you are the epitome of busy mum, farmer's wife. You embody the reasons that so many women believe that they cannot lose weight or take control of their health. And I think you'll both agree, like, well, I admit in the past, I've tried lots of different things and they've felt like a suffer fest. They haven't worked. They've been ultra processed or they've required loads and loads of HIIT workouts. So tell us a little bit more about you have lost 8 kilos since we started working together.
Yes. 8 kilos.
Yeah.
I'm on my glow up. So, for some people, they might think, what do you do there? For me, my body type, I forgot to say in the saucy starter that I'm 4 foot 11 and a half, and I'm, my genetics is European and Asian, but I'm giving a lot of European voluptuous vibes. I'm not stick thin Asian. So,
We've talked about this, haven't we, as well? We'll get more into this in a minute.
things stick, and I have got boobs and butt. Like in our wedding speech, Robbie, it was my bum that got the wedding ring, okay? Apparently. But that's the truth about it all. Um, so what was the question again? What's my journey into this?
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about what led you to get in touch with me in the first place.
Okay. So I think honestly, phones pick up on algorithms, and I really liked Love Your Guts. I had that page, and then all of a sudden a reel popped up of you eating lamb and wanting to lose weight and things like that. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Click, click, click. I can resonate with eating lamb and rather than chicken breasts all day, every day. That's what I was used to. And my challenge prior to being pregnant with my last child, it was quite bodybuilder type diet, if that makes sense. There wasn't a
Yeah, and I think you sent it through to me. It was the style I'd call is if it fits your macros, which is IFDYK or whatever. And it's very it's quite processed, isn't it? So no sugar jellies, but chicken breasts, no fatty meat, not so much real food, but very kind of calorie focused.
kind of looking back on it, a lot more admin to what you offer, because what I'm doing with you is what my family eat, and it's not too much different. About like, oh, Ivana's on this 6 week, 8 week shred, and the whole family knew about it because it was so pedantic. I had the scales out, it was kind of a bit of a task. And my husband was like, I probably like you just a bit more chunky than putting us through
Then you having to do this every day.
yeah, like gotta have my Oxyshred, gotta go to the gym now. It was just have my protein shake within half an hour of the workout. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Like honestly, that's how I was.
Yeah. And I think lots of people have done that. Lots of people have.
Still doing it, so I'm not going to poo-poo it. It's not for
No.
me. I'm in my slow girl era, like being very mindful of what food I'm putting into. Like I talked to you about this, I'm quite holistic. Also with children getting sick, I've got a different approach to how I might deal with their sicknesses. Like it's a big reset on everything and learning to love myself more because like I haven't probably told you too much, but when I was in my 20s, I was so obsessed with being 46 kilos. Like I was told by the YMCA gym that that was optimum weight for you to be able to see abs because you'll be X amount body fat. So I got quite
My gosh.
mind effed about that concept and to the point where I wouldn't eat a lot of food at big Filipino gatherings and things because I knew that if I did eat all that, I wouldn't be 46 kilos and you wouldn't see abs. So I've had to go through a big actual reset on food and my body and embracing the curves, embracing the postpartum body. I've had to have 3 C-sections, so that in itself is a different boat to a lot of women.
It's a recovery process to what I had for sure.
Definitely, and you get a little thing called a shelf. So I've got a shelf that I have to work on as well, and there's a lot to it. So I'm just thinking, you know what? I wish I'd told myself then, you're beautiful, Ivana. Like stop. If I could date my younger self and have a coffee,
Yeah.
don't worry.
I really enjoy that trend that was going around Instagram. Hey, have you seen it? I
Yeah,
met my younger self for a coffee today. Yeah.
yeah.
I think we all wish that, right? So I think this whole business of mine came about because it's what I wish I'd known in my 20s.
Mm.
And it's definitely, yeah, it sounds like I wish, yeah, you wish you'd known this kind of thing too. And I think
Oh, because
there's so much to be said for, I think we're both beyond abs, aren't we? Like having abs.
you
I, well,
in our
yeah.
20s, there was a lot of, the Nicole Richies, there's a lot of body shaming, the media. You wanted to be looking a certain type. Gosh, I remember going to the clubs when I was 18, whatever. We took 3 hours to get ready. Now I've honestly taken 5 minutes for this interview, to get ready. Put some
You look
mascara on,
wonderful.
you know, now I look like a human. So we honestly, it is so crazy how much you could change, honestly. And also your mindset and having to change being a mum and being a parent and what I role model to my children as well. Because I've got 3 girls. They don't need to go through what younger Ivana felt about her body. No.
Did you, was it the reel or did you listen to the podcast with Laura who was talking about there was Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie?
Yeah.
And Nicole Richie, very beautiful, very normal body type, was like the short, fat one.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. How many teenage girls would have looked at that and gone, I don't look like Paris Hilton, so that must be me?
Yeah.
Like, it's so interesting, isn't it? And that whole era. And
Very.
now, it's worse, I reckon, with social media
Yeah. I
for the
don't
young girls.
TikToks and things like that, but I know that children are very much influenced by a lot of image. Even I can doom scroll and get caught up in it. Like, oh, postpartum bodies, you compare yourself and you think, what am I doing wrong? Why don't I look like that? Rah, 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 you know.
You have to, I think postpartum is, I made sure I was going to be really strong with myself. And I actually intentionally consumed a little bit of content around the postpartum body, but there's quite a few incredible women out there who were championing getting strong, and they'd show this transition between postpartum and 3 or 4 months, and then another transformation, so a year or 18 months later. And I thought that was fascinating because what they'd done was focused on getting strong
Exactly.
and eating the right foods, building their muscle back up, because our hormones in pregnancy mean that we don't want to gain muscle. All our fuel goes to the baby. And so trying to build patience in from an early time, patience and compassion,
Yes.
I think it's quite important.
Oh, totally. I always think I need to show up for myself, in this period, like making a little moment for myself with the exercising that I've been doing. A lot of the first 12 weeks when we connected, honestly, I didn't want to know about weights. I had
Yeah.
enough going on. It was because I was still breastfeeding. It was literally a walk in, just getting used to habitually not putting toast in the toaster and just going, I'm going to have a savory breakfast, treat myself, not just on a Sunday when husband's not going to rush off to work and we try and do something nice. I'm going to make eggs for breakfast every day. It's serve my body better. It's going to do a lot, you know, I'm actually going to probably lose weight, and I did out of it. And I actually really enjoyed that little ritual that I created for myself because, as you said before, life is quite hectic. And it's nice to treat yourself. It's like how people go out for coffee. It's like a huh. I was like having my huh with eggs.
Having
But
your breath, having your moment.
yeah, and
I think
enjoying.
that's so good.
And I forgot, it wasn't just eggs. There was bacon, and some days there was steak and chops. It was just wow, yum.
So, Ivana, let's move on to the meaty main course, which is so I want to run through before you started with me, what were you eating to get through the day? And then you moved on to eggs, bacon, steak or lamb for breakfast and what that did for you. What were you eating to begin with as a postpartum mum, very short on time?
So in the early stages of Gwen, I was eating porridge because that's what I thought would do me good. And breastfeeding needs some high carb food. And even when I was doing the bodybuilding diets, there was a whole lot of notion about overnight oats and wheat bix with the protein and lots of sugars and things that I learnt through you. But anyway, so I'd have porridge, but then an hour or two later, it's like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat some crumpets. And then another hour or two later, it's the 2-minute noodles because I'm just constantly hungry with the breastfeeding. But I also, it's just like a bottomless pit, finish. And then, you get a bit stressy because you're tired because you don't know when baby is going to wake or sleep. So you just go for the snacks, the biscuits, the Doritos. Um, I thought I was probably eating healthy snacks, just eating muesli bars and sweet pea those little pea chips, those harvest ones. They're
Yeah.
okay. Like not even eating just like a little packet. I'm eating half the big packet.
Yeah, it's because it's that glucose train, right? So once you start it off in the morning, just with your oats, and then you kind of peak and you go, shit, I feel really good. And then it troughs, and then a peak again, and then it troughs, and you just need to keep eating because as well, if you haven't, your hormones and your hunger and your satiety and your appetite when you're breastfeeding, if you don't nail some protein and some healthy fats for breastfeeding as well, early on in the day you're ravenous.
I was not eating that for breakfast, the healthy fats and
Yeah.
protein. Um, if anything, Robbie was like his love language was to make breakfast before he left for work so all of us could eat it. Like there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that. At the same time, it
Yeah.
wasn't serving my body enough. And then yeah, I just was filling it up with snacks. Honestly, you go through a phase where you probably just eat your way to happiness when you're just in that season because just and there's a bit of a culture where oh you're a mum you deserve it so eat the donut eat this eat that and that's okay but at the same time it's not okay for me to keep doing that because I just end up in an absolute rut you
I
know
think I got so much, I found it really triggering when I was pregnant, actually, going, you're pregnant, eat the shit. It doesn't matter. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, my digestion is shit. I'm exhausted. Why would I eat a load of rubbish? Make myself feel worse. It's the same postpartum, right? You're like, oh, I'm struggling in every aspect. I am sleep deprived. I am, you know, like surviving, not thriving, surviving. And the last thing I probably want to do is throw chocolate at it because I quote deserve it.
Mm. And
Interesting.
you don't recognize your body. Well, some of us might, but after having a baby, and you're just in a bit of a slump sometimes. Well, I was,
No, I was too, and it's really I look back at the photos now and I'm like, because I was fascinated by the whole process. I look back now and I'm like, wow, I quite enjoyed it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's definitely some kind of disassociation there, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it.
I think I look back on it and I have had 3 pregnancies and I've put up over 15, 17 kilos on each baby. That's a huge amount of weight when you're 4 foot 11 and a half in less than 9 months. Like, it is ridiculous. And then, oh, you're breastfeeding, it all fall off. Bullshit. I got bigger. Oh, I got ripped
Yeah,
off.
same thing happened to my best friend. She was like, I was just literally staying immobile, eating snacks all day. Like I was trapped eating snacks.
Snack traps.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's for some people amazing metabolism, or they just don't even look like they've had babies. But for me, no, I was just getting bigger. On top
Do
of
you
already.
do you think you would have had a different journey if you'd known what you know now?
Totally. Yeah. I not don't encourage me. I'm not gonna have another baby.
When's number four? Can we test the theory?
um, but it totally probably would be different. But also I want to celebrate with you how much I have achieved, because I didn't actually think I could even start anything while breastfeeding, because I didn't
Yes.
want
Yeah.
to have a journey, because let's be honest, that's a whole different thing in itself. Eating nutritious food, but not reducing food where it's going to affect the milk supply. Finding I've often known that, and it's like, well, how do you attack that? Because I didn't want to do the bodybuilding diet, because I'm literally building a little body here.
Can't go like hard and fast and
Oh,
go, it's actually funny. You submitted your calories yesterday and they were only 1,000 calories, but it's not a bodybuilder style, 1,000 calories, low fat, deprivation
oh,
style approach, is it?
yeah.
And your breastfeeding kept going continuously throughout those 12 weeks, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It
Yeah.
didn't detriment Gwen in any way. If anything, I was like, wow, I can eat this food, lose a bit of weight, and still breastfeed,
Your supply is still good. Yeah.
because I'm eating, we call that macro stuff, that
Yeah.
macronutrients. I'm eating protein, I'm eating good fats.
And we didn't, so you and I I've only got you to put it in my fitness pal the last 2 days, haven't I?
I know.
So interesting. And but for 12 weeks, you didn't touch an app. You didn't really weigh or measure anything to my knowledge. I remember literally leaving you a voice note being like, Ivana, you live on a sheep and beef farm. Eat the sheep and beef. Eat the
Yeah.
lamb and beef. And you
Well,
were like, wow, you were slightly afraid of or slightly nervous of fatty meats.
yeah, well, it's just like, oh, pork chops. Are you sure I'm allowed to eat pork chops? Because I remember I won't say names, but in the other diet, well, don't eat that. You're going to be throwing out the scale and you're not going to lose weight at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
love
that
eating fat.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
good, isn't it? It's bloody delicious.
so good. Whether it's on steak, chicken skin, give it to me. Yeah. Our bodies really do thrive off the fat. Yeah.
Reckon. And I feel like, especially as a new mum, it's a lot more of like a stable energy where you aren't reaching for something every
Oh,
5 minutes.
it's a treat to eat natural fat as opposed to the crumpet and the noodle, like,
Crumpet. I used to love crumpets covered in butter and honey.
yum.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So Ivana, a couple of the other things that we've talked about across your quote journey, talking to friends about this style of eating, and it's still quite foreign to a lot of people.
Yeah, or it's a bit too scary. Um,
Yeah.
or I often hear um, the notion that, oh, it's too expensive to eat meat. But then I've done my girl math, okay?
Yeah.
And yes, I live on a sheep and beef farm, so people are gonna maybe listeners go, "Oh, you're privileged there," but yes and no because I still buy steak because after the beast is out of the freezer, we still need meat, and sometimes I have to buy it. So I'm buying steak, and for 3 or 4 pieces at our local supermarket, New World, you can get it on sale for $25. So that lasts me 3 or 4 days. That's less than $5 a piece. If I had that for breakfast or for morning tea or lunch every day, like that is like people's coffee. You can't tell me that you're not eating, you know, more than worth. Um, I just think, yeah,
I think
you
it's a
can,
really, really false economy, isn't it? And like we joke and
yeah,
call it girl math, but actually I do the same because I'm like, I might eat a steak for breakfast or say like 5 eggs or something. Say it's about $1 an egg at the moment. So $5 for breakfast, which will probably be brunch because that would probably keep me full for ages,
it does.
versus eating your cereal at home that you call cheap and then going out to get a slice and a coffee for $12 at 10 or 11 a.m. because you're like, I am famished.
Well, I would. So I didn't know about the whole steak eating that for breakfast, but in my mum era, like early on, still in it. What am I talking about? But
We're thick
it
into her.
drop the kids off, and it would be a wet day. So I'd go to the local laundromat, put the washing in to dry. Outside the laundromat is the gym and the bakery. Like how ironic. Like I would get myself a $6 pie and a $4 donut because how much they cost. Like literally
Yeah.
$10. The pie and the donut was a short term fix. Tastes good. I felt like I deserved it. Oh yeah, I've got
I
all the
deserve a
washing done.
treat. Yeah.
But it didn't serve me well. I put on weight and I still feel hungry later on, and sometimes you actually feel a bit rubbish, like it's a short term high. It's like you eat it because it's giving gratification here, but then later when it's digesting, it's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have eaten it.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
was like my tummy sore. And that's so about 15 minutes before I got on to talk to you, Ivana, I was recording with a nutritional psychologist.
nice.
That was amazing. So she was literally talking about the food we eat and our gut brain connection. So like choosing that dopamine, so like the pie and the slice or whatever it is that you wanted, like there and then to give you an emotional high kind of thing versus how it affects us longer term and our mood when our blood rushes to our tummy to digest our food and then how you feel about it later on that day or tomorrow, things like that.
That's what I didn't have in my vocab. That dopamine. That's what ate the
Dopamine.
nerve, the crumpets, because it
Yeah.
tastes good, but later down the track didn't make me feel good. And a week eating that just made the scales go higher. You know,
Yeah.
it didn't. I don't know if it went on Gwen's thighs. Like it's supposed to through smoke. I'm just thinking a lot of us do that because we wear many hats as women, as mums. We're juggling so many things. Like if you unpacked my brain, you'd be like, whoa, because when you're involved in committees and I'm planning to teach and then I've got to do farm admin, sometimes you just have like you're just on the go. So you eat something on the go rather than being more mindful. So now I'm more mindful when I eat. And I'm finding that I'm not hungry when you don't fill up the petrol tank with all those carbs that didn't serve me very well, like the toast, and the crumpets, then I'm finding myself that my hunger just balanced out better. And I had lots of energy. Remember in the first 12 weeks, like I was still breastfeeding and I was like, oh my gosh, Amy, I didn't do a workout, but I put in a rock garden. I put in a veggie garden. I love sport. Like, and I still have a baby at home. That
Yeah,
felt like a huge thing to me. It's immeasurable, those little things. Because, yeah,
it's
unless you're in
really
the sick,
hard.
yeah,
It's really hard to articulate, isn't it? Actually, just having more energy and feeling better about yourself throughout the day, so you naturally achieve more, so you in turn feel better.
yeah, did, and I do.
Yeah, that's really good. So I think we've got a bit of a hint of what you changed first and foremost. So as you say, you weren't doing hyper amounts of exercise. You've just started doing small home workouts again. You were just
Literally.
walking. Yeah, literally.
Well, doing something consistent because I feel like, you know, how this is my second challenge with you. I'm ready to ramp it up. I
Yeah.
wasn't so much. And habits take a long time to develop. Like, let's just, this is where women get burnt out and over, like, we can put too much all at once and we get burned out. Like, 2 weeks into a challenge, we're off, we're out. It was too much to do the exercising, the food, and measure our food. You know, I
I
just
agree.
wanted to focus on getting the food right. And I feel like clapping for myself. I've been through some stressful times in the 6 months that we've known each other, whatever it is, like with hospital visits with my children. I haven't put on any weight. Like, I didn't go up over that crazy season. I might have stayed stagnant or, but I didn't put up, you know, and that's quite something that I should be proud of because, you know, a lot of women can lose all the weight in a challenge, a 6 week shred before Christmas, but then over the summer period, put it all back on. So I didn't want that. I had to be very strict and I actually didn't want to sabotage myself and eat that food. I didn't crave that food. You know, while I was in the hospital with my children, I was like, where's the eggs? Where's the meat?
And
There
this
wasn't
is
any.
really interesting, Amanda. So I know you went through some like not stressful times, but between business and family, and
Yeah.
then a little bit of a hospital stint recently with your daughter, which is hugely stressful. Um, you it's keeping your head screwed on, right? So trying to maintain a little bit of space and time for yourself to have a little bit of control in that moment. And you amazed me with telling me what you were finding while you were at hospital because it was really, really hard to eat while at hospital, right?
Yeah. So I don't want to shame food, but it was like what given Zara with when she had colitis, she actually had a virus called HSP, but it's inflamed intestines. Like a lot of the food was like toast, wheat bix, jelly, custard. It was all on the one tray. And you know,
It's that throughout the
and
day.
because she
Yeah.
didn't want it, she didn't have appetite to eat it. It was like, oh, you should eat it because you're not going to get fed. It's just for patients. I was like, none of that's going to serve me well. And all I wanted to do was give my baby some broth or some egg or some meat, you know, something wholesome or even Greek yogurt. It was nothing. It was all heavily processed food that a lot of us have grown up with being that's just embedded in our DNA. You know, the wheat
You
bix.
said you want to be a Weet-Bix kid.
Yeah. Well, I did do one triathlon, okay? When I was 8. But yeah. So it's just it is part of our culture to eat like that. But
It
it doesn't
is.
serve us well. I'm not saying for children you've got to survive and they burn all that stuff off. But for me, yeah, it's fueling my body wrong.
Yeah. And I think um I don't think there's anything inherently bad, but I think what is missing is the education piece, right? So around the standard Western or standard Kiwi diet, Sophia, the nutritional psychologist, actually just touched on it and she was like, there is one diet that is problematic to do with psychology. So we're talking issues with the autism spectrum, ADHD, bipolar, and schizophrenia. She's now studying OCD. So there are a lot of clinical studies now that prove a whole foods diet and a ketogenic style whole foods diet are beneficial. the one diet that is in opposition to the benefits is the standard Western diet, which is what we are advertised on TV all the time. There is Weet-Bix saying, with the All Blacks nutritionist talking about Weet-Bix, which is fine if you're running around a rugby field for 8 hours a day and you don't have gut issues. But I think childhood obesity is on the rise.
It is.
Like,
Yeah.
nutrition education isn't where it should be.
No.
It's
And
yeah,
that's where you were really good for me when you sent through that podcast about I think it was the grounded cancer expert
yeah.
for that. And that's where it all fell into place where I became like, well, this is your because I
Yeah,
shared it was a bit of a slow burn, that podcast, but there were
long
really
one.
juicy,
Yeah,
yeah, really juicy parts. And one that I would um like to mention was that whole chimpanzee thing. You go to the zoo and you see these chimps and they're eating their natural diet and their own what they'd have in their habitat, even though they're in the zoo. And I think the guy said, you know, can I give this chimp my burger or some chips? And the zookeeper would say, no,
absolutely not.
that is animal cruelty. Then why are we doing it to ourselves? Because our guts, it's not actually, made to eat all this heavily processed food.
To
I'm
ourselves
not,
and to our children.
yeah, I'm not poo-pooing chips and burgers, but to a certain point, like we're eating too much of the heavily processed stuff. It's just that's where the penny drop. Like, oh, you're right. When you talk about we've got over 100 different flavors of ice cream. We go to the supermarket, we can't find food that's not in a packet or with numbers on the back of it. That's where I'm like, oh yeah, where is the actual food?
So yeah, you're so interesting there, and we've talked about reading labels in the supermarket and things like that. Sophia
Yeah,
just highlighted that we have to make 35,000 decisions every day as humans. Yeah, so,
that's a lot.
and Ivana, you just mentioned being a busy mom. The way I try and
Yeah,
explain to Scott, my husband, when I'm having a meltdown, and I'm like, you don't understand, my brain is thinking 7 steps ahead of where you're
yeah.
thinking right now. So if I seem frustrated or lost or bewildered that you've forgotten to do something, that's because I'm over here. And it's very hard to explain, and it's probably not a good thing. Like you say, we've probably got some kind of borderline ADHD with the amount of screen action and
Uh,
things these days. But it was just so fascinating, yeah, listening to Sophia and talking about the supermarket. 35,000 decisions a day. So that's ignoring every free coffee with a muffin offer, all the
mm.
health messages in the supermarket that we literally have to walk past and ignore in order to get to the real food.
Well, my food bill has reduced since being with you because the old Ivana, I still buy lunches for my kids and it's still like there's still processed food. What are you? But like I was eating the yogurt that said 13 grams of added protein, and it had a flavor on top of. Where now I'm just buying plain old Gopala Greek yogurt. It's got half the sugar, if not a quarter of what the main brand that we all know about has, and it's got 9 grams or more of protein. So not as high, but less sugar, and it's like peanuts compared to, you know, the
Yeah.
main brand. Wow, like just one little thing like that, just tweaking things rather than going for the muesli bar or the cereal that says added protein, fiber, blah blah blah. I'm more mindful. Like that's a scam.
It does feel, when you know it, the whole world does feel slightly scammy, doesn't it?
And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I don't want to go too crazy about it, but I'm like, we're just better off to eat the steak and eggs that everyone's complaining about it is expensive. But if we ate that, then we wouldn't probably spend so much other money on this other stuff because we'd be
Yeah.
fuller.
You're
And
fuller,
we
more
won't,
satisfied, and you stop paying someone's marketing budget.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
to-
so interesting. I think the more health messages a product has on it, the further away you should move.
Yeah, the more noise it's making, eh?
Yeah.
It's not healthy. Telling you it's healthy, don't eat it.
If it's
Don't feel-
shouting at you that it's healthy, don't eat it.
Yeah, the poor apple and the banana that doesn't have all that stuff around it. Yeah.
The apple, the banana, the steak and the eggs. I mean, you might tell me different. So your insights from a sheep and beef farm, Ivana, you presumably, I know there's beef in land New Zealand, but you're not paying a marketing budget for your packaging,
No.
or
So
the distributor isn't.
yeah. So it goes to most of our meat goes to a processing plant called Decoding Meats. It's nearby and it just we don't often see where it ends up, but it's in the supermarkets looking very plain Jane. It's not dressed up. Um, but there are farmers that supply to more high end or high niche places, but it's just there and we get paid out for what we give to the market. So yeah.
Yeah,
But all our um food is just grass fed here. It's
I was
there's
about to
no
ask because so many people still come to me going, Amy, I don't want to eat too much meat. I don't want to eat much red meat. And they've heard all these stories from America. So there's the red meat causes cancer study, right? Where actually all the red meat being studied was hot dogs and burgers, and there was no proxy for how processed it was. There's no measurement. And so they've actually like done a more of a meta-analysis, and actually eating steak actually slightly reduces your risk of cancer and reduce your risk of Alzheimer's, which is really interesting. So, and it's grass fed. It's grass fed in New Zealand, isn't it? Or lots of farms it is.
yeah. But I did see some real weird Netflix series about feedlots, and that shocked me because people who don't know assume we're all in the same bandwagon, when we're not. And unfortunately, I'm not poo-pooing on vegans, but there is a little culture where it's us versus them, and they can be quite radical in their thoughts that we don't care for our animals, and oh, you could go down a rabbit hole of what they think of people that grow meat, that we don't care. And there are probably farmers that don't care for the animals as much as what Robbie and his family are doing. We are, we're feeding them. They've got fresh water, they've got grass. Um, you know, they get the right supplements if they need it, like a little drench or whatever, but it's not going to affect the meat. But they're not fed highly processed food. So even eat highly processed food that they're not used to fatten them up, to go to a market more quicker, to feed America or the world with their beef because they eat the most beef in the world, but it's just probably McDonald's burgers, like it's just this horrible thing that is out there as well.
I think
We
once
have to.
again, like with many things, it's possibly the way things are done in America, or a few like mass produced
Mm,
farms that have given the entire world's meat a terrible name.
yeah. When things are produced, like in anything in life, the quality is going to diminish, right? So support the local farmers, buy from the butcher, your local butcher if you have one. Find a friend that goes hunting or find a farmer friend, and do trades,
Yeah,
like all about the little man for me. Yeah.
definitely. I'm lucky enough to, my husband is a hunter and recently went and got some venison. And what we're struggling with is finding a butcher that will make things like sausages without filling it full of loads of crap. It's really interesting. Yeah, so it's such an interesting to delve into the site, like areas of where your food comes from, and that's why I love hearing from you, Vanna, as well. Like your like sheep and cows are grass fed, and it goes to local supermarkets. It's a very quite a nice clean supply chain in my eyes
Yeah.
versus food that's I don't know, even And lots of things are quote genetically modified these days, but say the orchards around here in sunny central Otago, the size of the peaches, man, they've been bred to be that size. And then the fertilizers and the pesticides and all those sorts of things. And from what I gather, it's what we do for a lot of our veggies, and how that makes it to the supermarket. So vegans might be anti-meat, but it's actually when you look at the supply chain of lots of things these days, like a beautiful innocent peach, it's all quite convoluted.
All the broccoli, all the brassicas, they look so perfect. Get the veggies that look wonky.
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't even a supermarket, you know?
Yeah.
It is hard. There's a whole nother thing. We've only got an hour that I could talk about, you know, because I'm a big advocate on if you can grow vegetables, grow them. Like it's just much better for us. And like if you don't just grow zucchini. That those suckers grow
Oh
overnight.
my God. I am still trying to get through what must have been about 37 marrows that we've had over the summer. Like inappropriately sized zucchinis. Just,
I know.
it's great.
You can't you only need one plant. Like you start having to give them away. Things like that. Some things are not hard. Like also spinach, silver beet.
Yeah.
We've got, you know, I'm worried about the people, the listeners that don't have the space, but you know, there's some easy veggies out there. It's not too hard to do.
We've got, I'm a terrible gardener. Um, I'm gonna subtly blame my ADHD and lack of patience combined with having a baby this year, but very lucky that Scott's done it. We have three tiny veggie patches. And when I say tiny, if you have a patch of grass in London, I've lived in studio flats in London. We could be doing this right
Yeah.
now. We've got three courgette plants. We had some rocket, we had some lettuce for the boys. We've got like rosemary, thyme, Greek oregano, like not heaps. There's even some tomatoes coming now. Like there's quite a lot. There's quite a lot that you can do in like a small space.
I've seen that you can, like, I've got space, but I've seen people grow things out of buckets, you know, like it's want to do it, you can do it. But yeah, just try and we just want to eat good food. Like if my grandparents didn't recognize it, if they were at my table, they passed away, or you know, I don't know if I want to eat it. I still eat processed food, but that's just my rule of thumb. My go, like, yeah,
Do you still? I love the analogy that I eat sort of mostly protein and some healthy fats, and then I eat everything else for enjoyment or pleasure.
yeah,
So even
like that
like,
analogy.
yeah, like a nice fuel, protein, natural fat, and then delicious crunchy salad or veggies or mushrooms or fruit or margaritas. Just so you had one off the other day. That looked great.
Yeah. So I went out with some girlfriends last weekend, and it was the first time in a long time. But a lot of my food throughout the week was very clean, like as in meat. It was just steak and eggs, and you know. And then I had a bit of a blowout, a few drinky poos, and then we finished off at the tavern. And my treat there is this lovely deep fried chicken meal
Oh,
with sour cream. It's so yummy.
yeah.
I'm dreaming about it.
Yeah.
But that's my treat. That's not even every week kind of treat. It's like once in a blue moon, like when I can make it heaven, which is literally probably when the blue moon comes out. Like
Or the red
very
moon we had a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? Crazy red
yeah.
moon.
So it's like that, and I'm not going to go. I can't eat that. That's going to sabotage my gains or whatever. I'm not going to live like that. I am going to enjoy the drinks and put something in my tummy. You know.
It's all about enjoying life and the soul. And I think you probably agree now, listening to the way you talk, when you know how to eat well and make yourself feel good 80 to 90% of the time, the other stuff doesn't matter. You can be so flexible. You can do what you want.
Yeah, you can actually eat a piece of birthday cake when it's someone's birthday. Like, it's not going to ruin you. It's not. Like, do enjoy the little things. You know, you're at family and they have hot cross buns, have a hot cross bun. But like for a lot of my time, I'm eating good protein, good fats, and not the breads and things like that. But I do notice when I do eat like a hot cross bun, I'm not feeling my body is funny around it now
Yeah.
because you've been so
You notice the
tidy.
difference, hey? Like I love it
I'm
every
like,
now and again, but you feel the difference.
I think it's more, it just bloats me, you know, bloats and belches and farts. Like, well, I said that for everyone to listen. But that's the truth.
I can believe it,
Yeah.
right? So I wanted to buy Charlie some hot cross buns the other day, but I looked at the ingredient list and there I think there was over 20 ingredients I counted. And I was like, what the hell happened to like, I don't know, like flour, eggs. I'm gonna have to get Scott to try and
Yes.
make some. He's the baker.
Yeah. That's the thing. Also, like I saw on the internet, McDonald's and that back in the day, it was fine. Yeah, because it was just probably beef. It didn't have 20 other preservatives in it,
Yeah,
you know?
we're actually even lucky here compared to America. Our McDonald's burgers are cleaner compared to America. It's interesting. But Ivana, I can't believe we've been going for 46 minutes already. I feel like every time I talk to you or we leave each other like ridiculously long voice notes, like the time flies. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface as well. So for the last 15 minutes, I want
Yeah.
to get deeper
That makes
into you. And I want you to know the reason I started this business is because it's what I wish I knew. The reason I started this podcast is because I wanted to be able to reach a wider audience with this sort of knowledge for free. Um, what are your takeaway desserts for people? So if you had to give mums, women of your age, women of any age, families, some advice and some learnings from our time together, like what would you recommend? Because I know your children are loving eating your chicken drumsticks and things like that as well.
one of my takeaways. I think women like myself, we see all these challenges out there. We can be influenced by people that don't even have children, you know, that we've got this hot body. And I just want us to go, hey, if you're in my boat, Amy's got you because she's encouraging you to have savory breakfasts every day and it's going to nourish your body and you're going to lose weight if that's what your goal is, like to lose fat like me. Because if you've put on weight and you're feeling frumpy and in a rut, just tweaking food but not feeling deprived is gonna do you wonders, because that's the biggest thing when we go into this diet culture. It automatically makes people go, oh no, I couldn't do that. I couldn't survive doing that. But actually, you can survive being told you can have a pork chop, if you wanted to, like within Kui, Um, yeah, the takeaways is I'm not just doing it to be skinny. That's not me anymore. I'm okay with not being the size 6, 46 kilo Ivana. I am 69, 70 kilos. I've still got weight to lose, but I'm enjoying the journey, because if I don't, then it's not going to serve me very well up here. It's going to F me up. I'm just going to be like, you know what, one step at a time, love the journey, love my body for where it's at right now. Don't be fixated in, hey, I'm 1 year almost coming up postpartum and I'm still, chunky monkey Ivana, but I'm 8 kilos lighter, and I didn't even think I could even be 8 kilos lighter and my child's not even one yet, because we're so, like, there's a lot of us that are like, oh, I'm not quite ready to do it, or I don't want to do that just in case. Like, it just slow, slow steps. I would, for a lot of mums out there, just take out the toast for breakfast and replace it with just eggs. I'm not talking about 2 eggs, 3 eggs, you know,
I go for.
because even protein. Okay, I've got a sister-in-law and her and her husband own a egg business. Get some eggs in you.
Cheeky promo.
Food. Yeah. Um. So I just didn't realize, I think we can have some eggs and toast for breakfast and think that's healthy. And it is to a point, but it's like take out the bread for me and just replace that with some meat. It keeps you fuller for longer. And we really need our protein. You could probably touch on that a bit more than me, but how important protein is for our bodies as mums, and the future for us. We're not just going to be mums, we're going to be grandmums one day. So it's like setting us up for success around our hormones, our body, our bones. We're going through this. What is it? Is it perimenopausal phase that I'm
It's
going to
what's
get
coming.
hit with?
You're a little bit younger than me, are
Yeah,
you? Or the same age? Yeah,
33, 34
yeah,
in May. So there's periods suck already. Like I want to be prepared for stuff. And if it's meaning eating steak and eggs, then I'm ready.
yeah.
Like, because my mum actually suffers from a thyroid issue and she's stick thin, well, very small and petite, and she probably could eat a whole lot of food and never put on weight. But all throughout my childhood, very lethargic, couldn't take me to do many things because she just didn't have the energy. Like vacuuming the floor, then should be have a lie down on the couch. Love my mum, but don't want to be like that. I want to be active and involved. So even if you're stick thin, you can still be not feeling healthy, if that makes sense. Because
Definitely. It's what's going on
yeah,
inside, it's inflammation, it's all the things that we can't see.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And Ivana, the last thing you mentioned it right at the start, and we haven't touched on it since, but we were talking about your ancestry. And I think this is really interesting for people to know because you were like, my Filipino family, we eat so much rice and things like that. And I was like, wow, what if you've inherited your dad's microbiome? And he is Caucasian, Scottish, Kiwi?
European, all sorts. So you've got English, Scottish, because I made him do a spit test, so we've got to do all of that. But I have definitely probably I look at my dad's sisters, I'm definitely more like them. I'm not like my mum
Yeah.
side.
So it's really
I eat
interesting. Like if
a bowl of
what, sorry?
turkey. If I eat a bowl of rice, I feel like I've put on a kilo.
And you do. So grains make you store 4 times their weight in water. But what a lot of people don't realize is that if you had been purely from the Philippines, Rana, you probably would have processed rice quite differently to having all this Caucasian ancestry. So I'm the same. Like my parents are like Kiwi and English, but like Swedish and Scottish heritage. Like I would not have had access to lots of rice, bananas, and mangoes in my ancestry. Like sugar doesn't really do well for me being up near the extremities. And so you're possibly similar British, like, yeah, English, Irish sort of thing. It's so
Yeah.
actually eating less glucose and eating more proteins and fats and lower sugar fruits and veggies that you would have got in those parts of the world will probably serve us better.
Yeah, it is really interesting that ancestral microbiome. But if we were just to do surface level, if our ancestors didn't eat it, then maybe we should think twice about whether it's going to serve us well. Like, okay, like my Scottish ancestry, they ate lamb's fry,
Yeah.
bacon and
Yeah.
liver. I'm serving that on the regular in this house. The and liver's underrated, but it's so full of iron. It's so good.
So good for the kids
It
too.
just makes me so happy when Gwen is munching on some liver. She's not even one yet, and I know it's serving her body well. Like, you know, things like that. So, also the Filipino side, they ate whole foods and a lot of broth. So yes, they had the rice, but they were constantly moving to survive too. Washing clothes, lighting a fire to cook. Everything involved movement. You know,
Yeah.
in the hot sun, growing their food, harvesting their food.
A
Like,
very different
yeah,
world to
we
what we
live in
live
different.
in.
We live in a very convenient time where push a button, our dishes are done, our washing is done. Literally put some processed food in the air fryer. It's boom chakalaka. But yeah, So my movement, because I'm living in that life as well, where things are convenient, I have to be mindful what I'm putting in my body because I'm not moving to burn that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think making an effort to move just like you are, just going out for a walk and now incorporating workouts, it's so necessary in the world that we live in today because otherwise I would not have to move. I would not have to move to do my job. I'd have to walk 12 steps. Bit of childcare along the way.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's wild.
Yeah, you're right. There's this really cool thing going around on the Instagram at the moment about being prescribed nature. I don't know if you've seen it. You know, doctors in certain countries tell go for a walk in the forest, go to the beach to soak in the water because obviously the magnesium, like we really
Definitely.
should be more. No one gets feels. I don't feel like anyone gets sad from going doing a workout afterwards. Like it might hurt, but it does so many wonders for you, whether it's a walk outside or doing a little workout. You know, no one feels.
No one
I
feels
feel
bad
like I'm a
afterwards,
better.
do they?
Yeah, Robbie notices the difference. He's like, "You gonna go for a walk today?" Like when he can give me that, you're gonna go. You should go.
You'll be
Like,
happier
yeah,
later. I'm gonna have happy wife, happy
yeah,
life. Go for a walk.
yeah. And when I do come back, I am smiling. I am happy because I'm like the dog that's been let out to go for its run and come back. Like it's literally that analogy,
Yeah,
like you
I
said.
love that.
Yeah,
I've said it on the podcast a couple of times, but I've said to Scott, I was like, I'm kind of like a puppy. Like as long as I can exercise in the morning, I'm good for the rest of the day. But if I don't,
yeah,
you're kind of a little bit antsy and things can, wind you up a little
yeah.
bit
Well,
more.
you just said we have 35,000 thought processes. Like I was driving to work and I feel so overstimulated all the time. So if you can find a window to do your walk, do your workout as a mum, if you're in that season, like it's so cool for you mentally. And bonus if you can eat good food too. Because at the end of the day, we all have to eat, right? We all have to eat food. It's a given every day. So I thought, rule of thumb, I'm going to treat myself to actually just eating whole foods because I know it serves my body better. And a bonus that I can lose weight along the way. And I'm not fixated in a time frame. I've got, you're going to be with me forever, sister.
For our old lady bodies,
It's
right?
like, yeah, it's not just a 6 week or a 12 week thing. I've given myself a lifetime because I'm not trapped into this, putting myself in a certain box and feeling like a failure if I haven't lost weight. You know,
Amen to that.
it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle change. Yeah.
Any final thoughts, Banner? Or are you happy to finish there?
I'm happy to finish there if that's enough for
That
you.
was fantastic. And oh, I just love the reality of your journey. And it's been such similar timing to mine. And it's been really magical for me to be able to work with you the whole time. And I so appreciate all your efforts, all your enthusiasm in our group and your
Yeah.
time today, because I know you're a busy lady. And thank you, Mum, for looking after the kids.
Yeah.
And I just can't wait to see what's next. So we're like 8 kilos and 30 centimeters down. Those are the numbers, but oh my God, I feel like your mental transformation has been amazing.
Me too. And I just think I've got a lot to lose, I feel, but I'm also enjoying the process. I'm not, and one thing before I go, I wasn't really into the fitness pal thing, but you just did that little homework for
Yes.
me, and I really wasn't hitting my targets. So, and I ate 2 beef rissoles, 3 drumsticks, 2 eggs, Greek yogurt. Like I'm not even hitting the protein. So I'm thinking, shit, there's a lot of women out there that are not eating enough
Yeah.
protein. So we need to get the protein because it's so beneficial for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom. Mic drop. That was wonderful, Ivana. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Chat
See you,
soon. Bye.
Amy. Bye.